Stone County Extension saves the world.
No! I don't know if we recorded any of that.
Welcome back to Stone County Extension Saves the World. It's our season finale. We've made it through a whole 10 episodes. One of them being a kind of a special audio release only. So if you're watching on YouTube, you're like, where's the...
Where's episode 7? Episode 7.
Episode 7. Our 4-H kids, they recorded a little bit and they forgot to turn the camera on, so it was audio only. But it
was good.
It was good. They're interesting. We'll have to get them back. For a season finale, we thought, well, why don't we just go through and talk about some of our highlights throughout the year. Program successes, good programs, maybe any ideas we've got for the next year. And thinking of my successes brings up a memory of one thing is it was a successful program back, 3 years ago? We had a drought.
Oh, the drought meeting.
Yeah.
The drought meeting.
The drought meeting. It was 3 years ago, wasn't it?
I believe so. It was in September, I think. Mm-hmm. And we've had...
July, maybe.
Well, I thought it was fall. We've had some really dry end of summer, fall times.
The past... Well, whatever it was, 3 years ago is what I'm thinking. We had a pretty bad drought during the middle of the summer. And so I was like, let's do a program about what guys can do, to kind of alleviate this drought. Some practices like, getting a sacrificial field. That's where you're going to just keep them and feed them in that field while you allow the others to rest and regrow. Or how to, conserve your hay. Maybe, we just cut hay, and rather than, saving that hay, what if we stick them in a sacrificial field and just feed hay during this dry period during a drought? Those are some of the practices we kind of talked about. But the goal of this meeting was to tell these guys about the practices, and we'd sent out postcards, and I had 40 or 50 people.
And you had Danny Griffin from Van Buren County and Kenny Simon.
Danny Griffin, ag agent from Van Buren County, and Kenny Simon, he's at the time he had a different title. He was like a program associate to Dr. John Jennings. Now he's the forage instructor.
Okay,
is what he is now. But Kenny Simon coming, he was talking about planting annuals, I think, and how to extend grazing or during this drought. Whatever it was he was talking about, we each had a portion that we were talking. I talked first, then Danny, then Kenny to end us up. And so, after I get done doing my talk, we start hearing this really loud siren. And it sounds like it's right outside the fair building. And so we go outside, and I kind of open the door and peek, and there's just this guy sitting on a Kubota side by side, and he's got his phone, a siren blaring, and he's videoing me. And so I kind of look at him, and I just kind of shut the door and go back inside.
Oh, just forget this.
Yeah, and he turns the siren off, and we go about the program, and everybody, you could kind of tell, was like, what was it? What's going on? And so here... Danny gets through his talk, and Kenny's going. And we're about to be done, he's been talking for about 15 minutes. Well, here comes that siren again, really loud. And then the guy comes in he's carrying, it looked to me like a Bible. And he comes in the meeting, looks like he was wanting to say something. And so everybody, 40 people, are all kind of sitting there watching this guy walk up to the front of our meeting. And Kenny, you could tell me and Danny try to cut this guy off. Because imagine the sirens blaring. Kenny's up there trying to talk about annuals for planting. He's like, I've just got a couple of more slides. And he started speeding up, and you could tell he's getting nervous. This guy's making everybody nervous.
Yeah, everybody was nervous.
And so
long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs.
My brother-in-law, I was kind of sitting by him, and when my brother-in-law knew who the guy was, just some local
Local guy.
Local guy. He's like, oh yeah, he probably bought the side by side from Matt, but he's
Maybe,
like, oh, it's
yeah.
just them, you know, and
Yeah, if you knew him, it made sense.
and so he comes in there and like interrupts us, and finally Danny gets kind of mad, and he goes, sir, can you go shut that off? We're trying to have a drought forage meeting. And finally the guy, he never did say nothing, but he kind of gave up on wanting to talk and went and shut it off and left. But afterwards everybody's like, what was that, man? We were all nervous. We didn't know what was going to happen. And Kenny was like, yeah, I got real nervous as I was talking. I didn't
Yeah.
know what was going to happen. And then I sent out an evaluation to everybody, and my brother-in-law put on there, he's like, I'll never attend another one of your meetings because you didn't let that guy talk. But we've had some interesting things happen over. And so
Yeah,
this year, was it successful or not?
I believe so. I feel like we had a great year this year.
We had a longer year, used to.
A longer program year.
Longer program year. We used to run from October through September as our program year. Well, this year we've changed it to go on a
Calendar year.
calendar year from January to December, and so they just extended our program year. So,
Yeah, you
once
brought up
successful, we started this podcast. That's quite
that's been
successful. I guess before we get really into it,
Oh, yes.
let's talk about this.
So, all three of us in the office got an excellent gift from the Wymans. Thank you very much. And we've got these super cool cups, and they've personalized them. We've got 4-H on them, Arkansas. And then I have the cooking club, and then we've got WEP, so it has a duck on there. And I got a dairy cow on here, too, for livestock skills. And then a cute little charm. I love it.
I got 4-H stuff, and then with WEP, they put a deer on mine. I like it's a nice buck there, and then looks like a shape of a bluegill, wouldn't you say?
Yes, I would.
And then Arkansas, yeah.
And we love it. Thank you.
So, thanks a lot. So our 4-Hers got it for us. Anna said their name, the Wymans, and I'm just going to say the rest of you got to step it up. Just kidding.
No.
We appreciate this.
We
Thanks.
do. We do. We appreciate anything we
So
get.
that was a success. We can say they like us enough that they thought of us.
Thought of us at Christmas. We appreciate that.
Well, speaking of, we were last year WEP state champions in both junior and senior.
Yeah.
We got to go to the national
y'all got to
contest for
go in
WEP.
Tennessee.
WEP is Wildlife Habitat Evaluation Program. But yeah, we got to go to Tennessee. I don't know what we placed. We didn't place in the top 5, so I'm just going to say we placed 6th place in the nation because no one knows.
No one to refute.
No one to refute. But that was a real fun trip.
And that's such a good program. We have always a good turnout for that, and we practice, and the kids learn a lot whether they go to the contest or not. And it's a lot of fun.
We'll be wondering if they do it this next year since we're without a wildlife specialist right now. But I do like doing that program.
It is fun. I've learned a lot myself. Well, I learn a lot in all these programs that we have and meet with the kids.
You can see background if you've never noticed before. We've got in 2024 we had some kids that competed in the state livestock skillathon and state meat ID, and we won both those contests. Got to go to Kansas City. What one was
Manhattan? Yeah, that was the American Royal.
American Royal.
We got a little flag from that.
And then
And that was with meats.
then we went to Louisville to the, what do they call that?
North American International Livestock Exposition.
That one was
I can't
really
ever
cool
remember
too.
if it's Null or Nail, so I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'll just give you the whole name. That was great because
We saw some sheep that there's not a lot of sheep around here. Most of them, if they are.
this
they're
one was
little
the size of a pony.
Yeah,
I
they
wanted
were
to take it home.
huge.
Yeah, it was really neat. And all the different types of shows, and they just had a room that was like a ball stadium size, full of sheep. And then on the other side at the time, they had the Shorthorn show and the Black Angus And so we set in on that too.
Yeah.
And what was cool about that is all ages were showing. You know, you'd see the youngest of young and older, and I love that. I thought that
Yeah,
was
and
really
they
neat.
showed like doing different showmanship styles. Like there was some they were like tag teaming.
Yeah.
Like one person was like setting up the goat's feet, and the other person was
Sheep.
holding.
Yeah.
What'd I say?
Go.
Yeah, whatever we watched. I forget. Sheep. They were setting up the sheep,
They were interesting
and
looking.
it's like a team. It was neat.
Oh, we went and ate at my first K-pop.
Yeah.
Oh, and we went to Churchill Downs. That was fun.
Was that would that be in this program year?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
technically
They
was.
didn't win their state contests in the program year, but we went to
We
the
went
nationals
to
in
the
the
nationals
program
in
year.
the program year. So yeah, it counts. Best of 2025.
Absolutely.
So it counts.
Well, it
so
was fun. I
we got
enjoyed
to
it.
go to a couple national contests with 4-H.
And we appreciate those kids that allow us to get to do that. So.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what else 4-H we did. We had the big outdoor day. We kind of a failure with that. We had to move it from Blanchard to Mammoth
I wouldn't
Springs.
call it a failure, but
Well,
we hate
not-
that we
yeah,
didn't
not a
have
failure.
our Blanchard experience. But hopefully now that it's going to be a state park, we'll be back and going in the rec area again.
Well, the problem was like it stormed. Like what happened? We like planned to do it, sent out the email about it, and then it like tornadoed or flooded.
Well, it tornadoed and then it flooded within just a few weeks.
Yeah.
And then we started hearing reports of damage at the
Yeah, and that it wasn't
one of
gonna
our
be
friends
opened back
works
up.
one of our friends works for the Forest Service, or a couple friends, and he let us know that. We were talking about earlier about like what are failures. Well, I wouldn't say this is a failure, but one year we were going to our outdoor day and just kind of like a freak little storm come through. We typically have our outdoor day in June, and it knocked the power out over. I think even my house might have been out, but it was just a small little area. Well, they apparently aren't allowed to have the bathrooms open. So that was great fun. We had, I think that's the year we had over almost like
Yeah.
120 people, I think, that year.
Yeah.
And here we are. Where are you going to go?
Yeah,
And so
120 people without access to a bathroom. Except
I think there was a porta-john up the road.
Yeah.
And then me and Whitney, my daughter, snuck off to go use the bathroom one time. And some people started around the corner. And here I am, like, looking at them through the weeds. And,
no.
oh, man. And so a funny joke after that, Billy was like, are we going to have, like, using the bathroom in the woods class?
Yeah, that'd be a good educational program. How to
Poop in the woods.
poop in the woods and leave no trace.
I had a lot of hand sanitizer
Yeah.
posted anytime, because I usually do campfire cooking, and I was like, all right, everybody line up with the hand sand before we get started.
Oh,
That was interesting. But the sad thing about it is it shut the cave down that day. 'cause
Yeah,
there wasn't
and we-
lights.
I was thinking again, not necessarily a failure because we had good attendance for what it was, but with my hay verification field day.
Oh, man.
So was again, I've mentioned it before, and working with this producer throughout the summer to help improve his hay quality, hay yield by following the recommendations on our practices. And this is our first year with them, and we're hoping to, build something and get good Bermuda grass back in there, produce good quality hay. But we've worked with this guy all summer, and it never fails with this verification project and farming in general. Stuff doesn't go exactly according to plan. So it rained pretty much all spring to the point of like, we're going to grow really good grass this year because it was like raining every week. So much that this guy that we worked with didn't start his first cutting till June, and that's pretty much a month behind.
And it rained a lot in June, too.
Yeah, it
for
rained
around
a lot in June. So he is able to get 2 cuttings off of this field, and then the water shut off. It didn't rain at all. And then, so we're like, well, we got to do something. Let's plan. I wanted to do a field day, and we planned this big deal to bring out some drone operators, show how the spray drones work, show how you can use drones to capture imagery for your field to use. and we're going to have demonstrations of those drones. Brought in Jason Davis. He's real good with that type of stuff. Had him come down, and then
Oh, and the First Service Bank.
yeah,
was buying
First Service Bank
dinner at
sponsored
Brad and
us,
Dad's.
and we did Brad and Dad's, and it's going to be a big deal. Well, it started at 4, and about 3 o'clock, it started storming. It hadn't rained all summer, but it came a downpour. Like, I was like, we're doing it no matter what.
Yeah.
We're not canceling it. And so I was like, we're just going to stand out in the rain and talk. Well, luckily, Jerry had talked to Brad and Dad's, and they said we could just come over there. So we all 25 of us piled in there and did our little meeting. It was successful.
Oh,
But
what happened to you right before the meeting started?
yeah, I forgot. I've got a scar. Like, it's raining, and I was running inside. Brad and Dad's trying to get out of the rain. Well, like, I went to round the corner, and it slipped, and went feet in the air and, like, just busted on the ground, dropped my papers
Yeah,
and all
the
this
sign-in
stuff.
sheets.
Yeah, and
I was in my car watching it all. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
Felt bad for laughing, but I couldn't help it. I
Yeah.
knew you'd laughed at me if I'd done it.
I mean, I cut
Yeah,
up my hand. I was bleeding, and I'm just, like, trying to...
You're like, what a day.
Yeah.
What a day.
But it worked out. Like, both of our district director, Sherry, and our district director, and Brad, our associate district director, come down, and they helped pass out the food. But I thought it was a successful program, even though I crashed.
I'm glad you had it anyway.
Yeah, I think that was a good deal. I mean, it snowed in my PAT, and I still had that. Had like 3 guys.
Oh, I forgot about
Yeah.
that in February.
Yeah,
and it had already snowed.
Yeah.
And they came anyway. They needed.
Well, I was thinking I'll go there, and if they show up, we'll do it. If
They
no
don't,
one
I'll go
shows
home.
up, I'll go home. And a few, like 3 people showed up, and we did it. But
You get bonus points
Get
for
bonus points.
doing things in the weather. I didn't think I was going to make it to Best Care this past year because my daughter Whitney had a ball game in Melbourne, and this was a Friday night in March. I think it was, I can look on the calendar. Yeah, March 14th. And everybody had said, watch for storms, watch for storms. Well, I ended up, she stayed with my mom in town. Brandon was on his way to Mississippi to go turkey hunting with our good friends. I'm home alone, just me and my dog Stormy. And I start watching, and it's like, kind of an idea of how storms are going to travel.
yeah,
And I was watching it, and I was like, this is getting more serious and more serious. And then I went outside, and it just felt awful outside. I've never really experienced quite the pressure of a tornado coming. And me and Brennan and also my in-laws have storm shelters, so I kind of put out on my Facebook, hey, anybody need a place to stay? And then it just kept getting more intense. So I started on a gathering mission. I was like, took me a while to get all the guns found,
Yeah.
all the wallets found, all my good jewelry found. Like, I just was squirreling up. I ended up getting the little pup and the other dog, and I had them in the basement. And then the last minute, I had a neighbor show up. And a funny thing, it's not necessarily that funny, but I looked down, I have this big pot on my porch, and that's where one of my cats was riding it out. He was riding it out in a little pot. But anyway, a tornado hit within 2 miles of the house, and it went over the road, and
yeah.
and it blew all those trees onto the road and stuff. And I was like, well, of course I didn't have power either. And I thought, I don't know if I'm going to make it tomorrow. I was trying to think if I went through Harriet and I went around, like, how would I get to Clinton? But they had the roads cleaned up because I left at 6 that next morning, but I could hear chainsaws all night. So yeah, I didn't know if I was going to make it to Best Care.
Made it.
I made it.
Look at you. And what other successes we have? We did our little farmstead seminar this year.
Yeah, that was our first
The
one of
first
those.
one. How many people?
Well, if you
30-ish?
add the kids, we had 30, which they were really intent on hearing Mark Russell talk about horses and different things with that because they're on our little horse judging team. But we got really good feedback because I thought we had kind of discussed like short sessions, long sessions, and what we learned from those that attended is they're really wanting some in-depth information And that was great feedback from them, but everybody
Yeah,
stuck,
so
you know,
we
stuck around well and
we
enjoyed
did a
it.
farmstead seminar to kind of, promote extension throughout. We've got a lot of people that we call homesteaders that have moved in here wanting to, raise their own food. And
Homesteaders, hobby farmers, small scale farming, urban farming.
Yeah. And so just trying to reach that audience, we hosted this farmstead seminar. I think we had Andrew Bolton come in, who's the poultry specialist, and he talked about raising backyard poultry. We had our health specialist, animal health specialist, Kirsten Midkiff, come in, and she talked about some, animal health vaccinations. Some of these, I think she touched on the Asian tick.
She did,
didn't
yes.
And then we had Mark Russell come in and talk about horses. And then me and you talked. I talked about pastures.
And no-till gardening.
And no-till gardening.
I talked about farm stress and then sourdough.
And I think it was
And
good.
we had people come from over 2 hours away, and it was wonderful having all them. And so we look forward to having that again this next year. We'll reach out a little bit and get, let us know what topics you might like at that farmstead seminar.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that again because I think we can grow it.
Yes. And we hope to, one of our goals in that was utilizing extension resources to hit those different audiences. And I've been to a few, I hate to just hate on things, but I've been to a few homestead conferences that they didn't have just the best information or enough information or enough advertising, or like it just wasn't quite. And then I've been to some that are amazing. Like I would definitely want to add that in. But so we're hoping to utilize extension resources for our farmstead seminar.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty good. Another deal we did together was we do the asparagus type class. We started it a few years ago when we started doing these special homesteading where I'd teach a topic, Anna'd teach a topic, and we've kind of done asparagus.
That's what we've pretty much done every year.
Yeah, and this year what we did was Anna talked about. Well, I'll let her tell you what she did.
Well, we pickled asparagus, talked about harvesting it. And this year we pickled it. In the past, we've pressure canned it, but I knew that we could have a larger audience if we pickled it and water bathed it. And while we went through the whole class on how to water bath and it was in the cookers, then everyone went over to the community garden.
Yeah, and that's a program I'll talk about here, I guess, in a little bit. Is something we started this past year with the Master Gardeners. But part of that, I was like, well, as part of building the community garden, I could put in a couple of asparagus beds and we can add to it year to year. And I think I did a 4x9 or 4x10s.
Yeah, pretty long.
And just built a little type bed, and then we went out and talked about planting, talked about, harvesting. One thing with planting asparagus is it's a perennial. It's going to come back, and if you take care of it, could last 20-ish years. But you want it out of the way of other stuff because it is going to be coming back year to year. So we put it kind of out of the way, and also where we could add more beds. We planted some Mary Washington, and I think was it Jersey Giant.
Mm-hmm.
And they come up. But the
they
thing
look
about
so
harvesting, with harvesting asparagus, you can't harvest too much those first 3
Tell
or
me,
so
I know.
years.
We about killed
or
ours.
We
that.
want to leave enough for them to create carbohydrates to store in the crown there, and that'll allow them to regrow. So that first year, you really shouldn't harvest much. Then the second year, you only really want to harvest about 1 month out of the growing year. Same with the third, and then that fourth year, they you should be able to get a full harvest. But it'll be neat how this continues over the next few years.
It'll be nice when eventually we can harvest right there from the bed.
I've got plans for that thing. I guess I can.
Yeah, I do want to say before you go into that a little bit on asparagus. We did the Grow Your Own Groceries webinar about asparagus this year, and that was super cool. And so that's another resource for you to sign up for that.
Yeah,
and that was great. I learned on asparagus, I pop the bottom off on the bottom where it's woody,
where it's
and
woody,
it bends
where
instead
it
of
bends
cutting it.
easiest.
Yeah, so you know where it's going to be too tough. and then you can store that in a couple inches of cold water in the refrigerator. But I had never read to add like a plastic over the top to keep the edge ends from drying out. So I learned that while I was, researching for teaching about cooking it. I learned, a little more about keeping it fresher while you're storing it. More on the community garden. What are your plans this next year?
So it was one of my big projects this year. I'd say it's successful. Was since I've been here, it's kind of been a goal of mine to get a community garden started, and so me and the Master Gardener group here in Stone County decided that we were all going to work together to help create a community garden that we can, not only bring the community closer together, but teach, those horticulture best management practices, do some trials and demonstrations. And so how we kind of went about it was like, I was like, well, what we can do is as we build this thing, let's just make it a class, And so we did a class on how to build a raised bed garden, and I put them to work when they showed up, and we built like 4 or 5 community.
No, you built different types too.
Yeah, and we built different types. Like we used some with treated wood, which used to be they said don't use treated wood in a raised bed, but with the new how they treat it with copper, it's just mostly just copper. They say it's relatively safe now, and you can actually use some treated wood as like a raised bed material. So we tried some with treated wood, some with untreated, just to show you the difference in how long it could last over the next couple of years. Then we built one out of concrete blocks. It took 32 of them. They're all 4x8s. We ended up building like 7 beds this year, and then we built one that's real tall, like for handicap access. But
now, didn't you do a hugelkultur?
Yeah, we also did a hugelkultur bed where we dug down and buried some logs, and I actually planted in it this year. They say it's better to wait a year, but I planted some tomatoes and peppers in it, and they did pretty good. But we started this community garden, and it's right next to our greenhouse, and we had I think 2 or 3 people participate from the community in it. And then the rest we used as like demonstration or teaching. Some of the master gardeners had their own bed. Deborah was like, I want it every year. That's the best garden I've ever grown.
Yeah, she had excellent looking.
It looked
she had
good.
Eggplant, tomatoes, and
she really liked
really nice.
She did it in the concrete block one, and she really likes that. She's like, we should build some more of them. And I'm like, well, it was the most expensive one. Like, we could build 5 of the others compared to the one made out of concrete blocks.
But that one probably will last the longest.
And we got dirt. The county.
Yeah, I filled one of them.
Yeah, the county agreed to haul us some good dirt in here. We put good topsoil and did about a 70 to 30% topsoil to compost mixture. County hauled that for us. We've still got a pretty good pile of dirt over there, and then the county actually come and leveled off. So my plans for it is to get some like berry plants out there, like blueberries, blackberries, and then get some fruit trees out there, and that way I could do all my like pruning classes right out there rather than having to go out to the farm.
Yeah, I need you to go to my orchard to do some pruning.
Yeah, I think we talked about we could make a video this next year. We'll go over to Anna's and I'll prune. What do you got? Apples?
I have Asian persimmons, pears, 3 different kinds of apples, some cherries, even though I said I shouldn't. And then I do have a mulberry, but I don't know if he needs pruned or not. And then I planted some pawpaws, but they had a tough summer.
Were they in the shade?
Probably not enough. I did plant them with trees around, but
the pawpaws, they're the only native fruit, I think, here. They get these big old green looking
I've never seen one.
Fruits. I know where some are in the wild, but they got seeds in them, but they say they taste kind of like between a banana and like a mango-ish. And it's pretty good. but they grow in like the understory of the
Well, I
forest.
planted them
and like
right
the,
kind of under a hickory tree, but then a tree kind of died, and so it opened up a little more sun than I
Yeah.
like. And then one of my Asian persimmons didn't make it, so I'm gonna have to get another one. But I didn't know those were a thing until Deborah brought
us
one.
some.
Oh
They are
my
good.
goodness!
We talked about it.
Yeah, we did. I'm gonna order another, and then I have some blackberries, and they had a tough summer too. But I did, after talking to you, I did fertilize everything, and I could see a difference there. And I do spray, but I do need to get my schedule a little more set for the year.
Yeah, but if you are growing pawpaws, first like few years they need to be completely shaded.
Yeah, lesson learned. I thought I had them shaded enough, but
Once
probably
they
should have
get big
put
enough,
some.
they can tolerate a little bit.
Yeah,
more
they're about 3
sunlight.
feet tall, but they probably needed maybe some. I should have put up some black cloth or something.
Yeah, that's what I've
at that
seen
point.
people do is put up shade cloth over the top of them, and
Yeah, that's what I
probably
should've
help
done.
them. What other successes do you have this year?
Had a lot of sourdough classes this year. Had to train the trainer with that. I had one class and I had 32 people attend in Stone County for sourdough. And then I've taught, well, me and Leanne teach together. So taught in Stone County and then had a few classes in Baxter County and at the library there, Van Buren County. I think I might have been in Sharp County. Been all around teaching them about that sourdough and so I've actually gotten a little better at making my bread. We've added a whole bunch of different recipes, but the bread seems to be the most
Yeah.
difficult. And so that's always a good success for me. I'm trying to think what else.
We do a few multi-county programs, some that were successful. We do our Little Red River Beef and Forage Conference. I say that failure on that was it actually did get snowed out, so we
Yeah.
didn't have the Little Red River Beef
There was
conference.
a lot that got canceled that week because of that snow.
But what we did start back this year, we go on a national, like go to another state, beef and forage tour. And it's several of us county agents that get some of our producers and we get a bus. And this year we went to Louisiana, toured some ranches down there. We went to one place that they had a crawfish farm. They did a crawfish boil for us.
The photo of that looked, if there was
Yeah.
smell-o-vision, it would have been good.
It was really good. But we used to do it like every year. I think we talked that maybe we'll start doing it like a out of Arkansas trip, maybe every other year. But in between that, we thought there's a lot of stuff here in Arkansas.
definitely.
And so we talked about maybe doing, just an in-state, going to
Yeah,
places
that'd be
here
great.
in-state. It might be a little bit easier than rather getting, bids on a bus and getting all this.
Yeah, at least not every year.
And then we also did our small ruminant conference. The first year we did that, it was over here, and it seems like it moves further and further away. I was like, I
have
got
to
to
bring
do
it
some
back.
small ruminants. But one year we did it in Stone County. Next year is at Clinton. Next year it was at Damascus, and then last year. Was last year Damascus? It may have been. But that's another multi-county is like Stone County, White County, Cleburne County. I think Faulkner, Van
Van Buren.
Buren, and Conway County are involved in that one. And that one's always a good program. I think I talked at this one this year, talked about, marketing your own meat. If you wanted to sell directly, to consumer. There's a couple of ways here in Arkansas how the rules or the laws are is if you're selling the individual cuts, you have to have that meat
Inspected.
butchered and inspected by a USDA facility. And there's only like 2 or 3 here in the state of Arkansas. They did make a law to where it can be sold when it's state inspected. I think that got passed, but
But where's?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not sure if
really.
we're not
I don't think we have one in the area. That's
not one
state
in the
inspected.
area. It'd be closer just to take it to a USDA facility, but you have to be inspected if you're selling individual cuts, and then if you're wanting to say sell without it getting inspected, you sell the shares of the animal. So I'm going to just sell the animal to somebody, and then they'll pay for the butcher. And
Yeah, commonly quarters, halves, and wholes with
Mm-hmm.
beef, but it might be a little different with small ruminants.
it's the same.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you'd get a quarter,
Well,
but
Uh,
and then we
it's-
had a few 4-Hers that attended some of the small ruminant butchering type workshops that were in the state through Extension, and they seemed like they made some really cool things on there.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to mention the plans for next year for the Little Red River Beef Conference. We're going to turn it into a series. I think we're doing March, April, May. And so 1 month, I think we're going to talk about like animal health. We're talking about the new Asian longhorn tick and the disease it carries, that thyleria. I think we're going to talk about the screw worm, just cattle management. Hopefully, if you come to all 3 of those deals, we can get you BQA certified, and is what we're
Oh, that'd be
talking
great.
about at the end of it. If you attend all 3 classes, you'll be BQA certified. But that'll be in March, April, May of next year. That'll be good to get back.
That'll be good. This last year, we added back dairy foods. That's a Farm Bureau contest. We hadn't had that in a while, and we had good attendance. And I was just kind of thinking overall, I started a cooking club, had excellent attendance for that, and we've taught them some tough things, haven't we?
Yeah.
We've cooked with charcoal. We've made fried pies. I get us into all kinds of
Yeah,
stuff.
the fried pies was. I was like, "What were you thinking?"
I don't know. Well, and then you said we should make tortillas.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I
I don't
come
know
up
what
with
I
these
was thinking.
ideas when I'm.
This is what I'm thinking. I want them to learn a real skill.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to have left that class and to be more self-sufficient. But anyway, so we've had good turnout for that. That was a good ad this year. And then I feel like we've had more participation. Like we had a lot more in Ross photography. I expect to have that same energy this year. We were already talking about it, getting everybody thinking about it.
We've actually got clubs meeting again. Like,
Yeah, that's nice. We've
after
got-
COVID, that took a long while for
Yeah, we've
clubs
got-
to get back to
get
leading.
going.
So we've got some volunteers that are.
Yeah, we've
meeting
got Dodd Mountain Community Club. They're actually having a meeting today. And then we recently had the Fox Community Club formed. And then I've got my cooking club. And we got to get back with our archery.
Yeah,
But we're real proud to have meetings.
yeah, we will start doing archery after the first of the year. It's just getting my schedule lined up, and
Yeah, we might have to do a different schedule getting you going.
yeah. But get that going. I think that'll be successful. We've been going to the 4-H, not the 4-H, the Mountain View Middle School Fun Friday, and we've
Yeah.
taught archery 3 times or
2 times.
2 times.
We've done that 2 times. We did stomp rockets, and we didn't get any ceiling tiles that day. Yay.
Yeah.
And then we did Wagon Masters too. So appreciate Miss Marsaw for having us.
We went to Timbo to their STEM at night, and we took the rockets to the rescue, or the stomp rockets, and we had them outside, and then it kind of was starting to get dark, I guess, and we moved inside, or
I think we were trying to get more centrally located.
yeah,
We
trying to
kinda
get
got
more
spread out.
centrally located. So kids started launching rockets inside, and a few of them got stuck in the ceiling
The
tiles,
trajectory got
Yeah.
a little too straight up.
but they were nice. Said these type of things happen.
Hey, the kids had fun. They learned something. We had some taking pictures because they were wanting to make them for home. So
Yeah.
that was good. Trying to think what
Anything
else?
else you want to highlight? Any particular big failures?
I don't usually like to highlight those. I don't have
I
any.
do.
Just
I'm like,
one.
Look at how I messed up.
I don't have any that I really want to talk about.
Yeah,
I
here's
have a
one.
good meltdown every now and then.
I'm supposed to know a little bit about horticulture and stuff, and I participated in the statewide horticulture demo with okra, and so I planted all the seeds and stuck them in the greenhouse, and I don't know what happened. They didn't germinate. Only like one variety germinated, and then I planted them outside, and then it flooded in the spot where I planted them.
I was
and
supposed to say, I don't remember
flooded.
any okra.
Yeah, it stayed flooded for like a week and killed all those plants, and so I
was
just
a
had to
fail.
send in. I failed at the.
Oh, it's kid pickup
That's my
time.
alarm for kid pickup time, but
I
I've got a
think
little bit of time.
You got a
'cause
little bit
it's-
of leeway.
It don't start moving till
Well,
like
gosh,
3:25.
I leave and I'm always at the end of the line.
Yeah.
I'm in line for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, you need to try the okra again because I want us to pickle some more okra.
Yeah, I think that pickled okra recipe, I can tell it's going to be good. We just got to
Yeah,
get
we got given some okra, but I think it was a little past prime. It was a little
yeah.
rough.
That's going to be one of my goals this next year is really get that community garden and actually
We could have a pickled okra
Get it,
class
yeah.
if we have enough okra.
get it taken
Yeah,
care
that's what I
of.
like about the community garden is how we'll be able to, build on things.
Yeah, and in that and partner with the greenhouse, like another deal did that seed starting class.
Yeah, that's always really successful.
Yeah.
And y'all made your own mix.
Yeah, we make our show how to make your own like potting mix out of peat moss
And another good thing about that class is we're bringing in people. Our joint classes seem to bring in more people we've not seen before. Not that we do not absolutely love the impact of having people over and over, but it's nice to know that we're still bringing in different audiences here and there. So that's a win. I feel like we've had that as a win this year.
Yeah. I want to tell my funny story about pruning.
Oh no. Okay, sure. Go right ahead.
Do you want to give some background on it?
Okay. Well, I don't know what all background I can give, but what I will say is that Tyler come in so frustrated one day after helping a certain group that had planted a tree in a public place prune their tree, and that was real like a ceremony type moment for this tree. And he was explaining that this one lady had kind of harassed him a little bit, and I laughed because I knew that person was a person living with dementia. But I knew that, and Tyler had no idea.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the...
Okay, so here's what happened. They contacted me. They needed to prune this tree they had planted. And I get out there, and there's several of them there. And so I'm like, well, as I make a cut, I'll explain why I'm taking this one off, why I'm doing this, why I'm doing this. Because on the happen chance that this tree ends up dying, I don't want them to be like, well, we had him come out and prune and now it's dead. So I was like, well, I'm going to take this off and it'll, I make this cut here because it looks better aesthetically between the space and the branches. And if I make the cut here, it'll just heal right over it. Like I'm explaining like in depth like that. And so I'm telling them before each cut I'm going to make. Well, this lady was like, I don't know why you have him here. I don't know why you have him here. This tree looks so good. He's just going to just mess it up. And I'd make a cut and she'd go, oh gosh, he's destroying this tree. And so I'm sitting there and I'm explaining why I'm making this cut. And she's like, I make another cut. And she's like, ugh, some people just got to show how smart they are. You can tell he don't know nothing. What oh no, it was so beautiful. And oh no. And so I kind of finished up and
Oh, tell about the picture.
and so I finish up and so I've aggravated this lady by pruning on this tree. Well,
that you were asked to prune.
that I was asked to prune. Well, then she's like, they're like, let's all take a picture. And so we are all standing there, and I'm standing in the photo bomb, and the trees in the background behind us. And the lady's not taking the photo, and I can tell. And they're like, well, you got to press the button. You got to press the button. And she's kind of sitting there, and I kind of like step out of the frame. She's like, that's better. And then takes the photo.
That's better.
That's better. Yeah, I step out of the photo and she's like, that's better. What else did I say she'd said to me?
I can't remember what else, but
It kind of made me feel a little bit better when I found out that.
yeah, that she
I
was living with dementia.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but-
because you thought she was just being mean.
Yeah,
and-
being mean to me. I was like, I do know what I'm talking about.
I promise.
I promise.
I'm a professional. I promise. Oh, I laughed and laughed. I thought that was
Yeah.
hilarious.
Some people just want to show how smart they are. Oh, no. Oh. Every time I'd make a cut, oh, it was so beautiful.
Is it still alive?
It's still alive. I thought.
Oh,
I think it
yeah.
looks pretty good.
Good. Good.
I didn't cut off near what I wanted to. I thought about sneaking back when they weren't there and just kind of making it look nice, but I didn't. As far as anybody knows.
Oh, me.
Yeah, all right.
Well,
Season finale. You got anything else you want to talk about?
you know, I've been amazed that I've been able to talk at all on this podcast.
Yeah.
I think we've just had to forget that we're being videoed and how much I say and
Yeah.
and okay and all
I thought
right.
we did that money counting class. I
Yeah, that
remember.
was good.
That-
You know what's a success is on that one is I was like, let's do a money camp, and I want to teach them how to count back change. Pet peeve, by the way, because I learned how to count back change, and I'm worried that no one knows how to count back change anyway. And we were working on it, and Tyler did get a little mean during bingo because you had to count the change, and then one of them, Cameron, didn't want to count it
Yeah.
because she had one that had a lot, but you had to count in order to get to bingo. Well, we were going around and I was working with each kid, and we got to this one and demonstrate how she did. I was like, you got that right. And how she was like, yes.
Oh, yeah. Like, yeah, she'd counted out her change, did it correctly. And then I was like, yeah, you got it right. And like turned around and she's like, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
You got
and
it.
she was one of our youngest ones there that day. So I was proud of
You didn't mention, well, you've mentioned on the podcast, start in youth leadership. That is a win.
Yeah, I
That-
started that last year.
started it, I guess. Yeah, started it back. It was a thing, but then you revamped it, made
Yeah,
it cool.
brought it back. Made it cool.
Made it cool.
Well,
and I
you
said,
know,
I'm
I'm-
not helping you at all.
Yeah, Tyler, his duties include delivering pizzas and chauffeur service. But yeah, that needed to come back, and I'm glad I brought it
and
back.
it's a good program, and it will be good. Like, I think you're definitely going to make a lot of impact because what we're talking, you don't think about the impact you make in these kids that, oh, maybe they went into this because they were in 4-H. And 4-H is a
definitely.
good program, learn by doing. And
Well,
then-
and people say, oh, there's not a lot of opportunity around for our youth. Well, guess what? There is. And we are a provider of a good part of it. If you want, whatever you want to go for, we'll help you do that here. And we like to go places and have a good time. So
Yeah, and we like to learn and we like to teach. And we like well-behaved kids.
thankfully, we got a lot of those.
Yeah.
And I feel like
And
we're
when they're not
kids.
well-behaved, I just ignore it.
Well, this is what I tell the parents when they're worried about their kids being wild. I say, I don't mind wild, but I can't handle disrespectful. So I was like, let kids be kids. Let them make a mess with flour and do all kinds of stuff as long as they're being cordial. They're learning that way. And I say that because if anybody dealt with me as a child, they'd understand.
Yeah,
Well,
been a good year.
it's been a good year. Here's to another good year. 2026.
2026, yep. We'll be
See you
back
soon.
after the first of the year with new episodes.
And get ready for guests.
Yeah, it should be good. Yeah. Or it won't be. All right. Got anything else?
No, I think I'm good.
All right. Blessings.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings. I'm leaving that in.
Thanks.
Yep.